The movie begins with Abigail performing her dance in the studio. Other side, Joey and her team, whose plan was to kidnap Abigail, were getting ready for the mission. Joey loads her gun and makes sure the syringes are filled. They reach the address, and a man jumps inside a house as per plan. He monitors the surroundings, while other two in the car hack the house's security cameras and disable the locking system. Meanwhile, Abigail finishes the dance and sits in the car. Joey tells everyone that Abigail has started towards home. They get inside her house before she comes and hides inside. Joey get to know that their target is a 12-year-old girl. She decides to quit, but it was too late. But soon she senses something wrong going on around her. She hangs up the call and pretends as if nobody is there. In no time, two men throw her on the bed. Before she could resist, Joey inserted the needle and Abigail fell unconscious. They pack her in the bag, but Abigail's father's car enters from the front gate. They run towards the gate, and suddenly the walkway lights up. They somehow make it to the entrance and run away. Joey makes sure Abigail is unconscious and covered her eyes. The hacker girl disabled all the cameras in the city. The driver was acting like an immature, but was an expert in driving away the car in difficult situations. They reach the big abandoned villa in the middle of the night. When their boss Lambert is already waiting for them, he told them to handcuff Abigail, keep her blindfolded, and appoint only Joey to keep an eye on her. At the same time, the others are expected to remain in the house for the next 24 hours until Abigail's father pays a $50 million ransom for his daughter. Nobody can expose their faces or true identities, and they will split up after the assignment. In addition, he offers everyone temporary names. Only Joey wants to know who Abigail's father is, but Lambert refuses to tell her anything and confiscates their phones for the next 24 hours. After Lambert leaves, they enjoys their success while amateur Dean wants to know about everyone, especially Sammy. He even makes wrong assumptions about Joey's real identity, but Joey accepts Frank's $100 challenge to make the best guess about him. Surprisingly, she guessed right, which startles Frank, as she assumes he was a former detective who joined the robbery for power. He told his father in school abused him, and now he has become an abuser himself. She guessed Sammy was a wealthy girl and joined the robbery as a hacker, after she does not consider Dean to be an expert. Instead, he's a psychopath. After her astonishingly accurate answers, Frank stops her and informs her that she looks like an addict, and as a cop, he can smell an addict from a distance. Joey then goes to see Abigail while keeping her face hidden. She takes off the blindfolds. Joey guarantees that they will not hurt her. Joey's kind nature make her calm. Joey does not know Abigail's real identity, but she is surprised after listening that her father do not care about her. She says that he may not even come. Abigail apologizes suspiciously for what her father will do to them in the coming 24 hours. Joey frightenedly comes to the hall and tells Frank that she thinks this will be dangerous and that they must know the name of the girl's father. Frank acts to be unconcerned about Joey's wild goose and enters Abigail's room. He is unaware that Joey has removed Abigail's blindfolds, so she glances at his face. But at gunpoint and in sobs, Abigail informs him that her father's name is Christophe Lazare. Frank is horrified to hear this and returns to the hall to say that he is stepping back and quitting the house, because Christophe Lazare is a legendary demon who will definitely kill them. Peter warns that they either leave or kill Abigail. This is the only way to stay safe from Lazare. Everyone agrees to kill Abigail. They then decide to stay alert all night and escape with the money they will receive from this. Joey, Wrinkles, and Frank decide to uphold a few spots. Joey looks at the house's huge library and hears sounds from the other side of the door. Wrinkles opens the door and offers to team up with her. On the other hand, Sammy turns on the TV in a room when a man sitting in the dark makes a strange sound. Dean puts a prank on her, but she hates it and told him to go away from the room. Drunk Dean makes a dirty thing on Peter's face and continues to look at the house. He sees Abigail's picture on the wall with her father. He ending up at a gloomy storage area. There were rats on the floor, and when he turned around to leave, someone pulled his legs. He shouts violently in an attempt to save himself. After hearing the sound, Sammy follows it. She reached there and finds Noon there. As she turns back, she saw Dean sitting on the chair. Suddenly the head falls to the floor. Hearing her screaming, Peter arrived there and gets terrified to see Danny's chopped head. He runs to tell everyone. Frank looks at Danny's body and told the animal did it. It's specifically Lazare's murder style. Wrinkles told he heard a story. To take revenge, Lazare killed 12 FBI agents in the same way. They agree to release Abigail because Lambert will not save them from the unknown monster here. Before they reach Abigail's room, Wrinkles declares that he is giving up and leaving the house without any money to save his life. He runs to the main door, but it was covered by a sturdy iron cage. Even after Peter's best efforts, it remains closed. The next instant, the house appears to be a trap, as the wooden sliders enclose the cage from all sides. Joey instantly runs towards Abigail's room to seek help. There, Abigail lies her that Frank is Lazar's people, which he hides it from everyone. Angry, Joey believed her and told it to everyone. In order to protect themselves, they both agree to search for one another and watch over various areas of the house. Wrinkle is unconscious and bleeding profusely from his lips when Joey unexpectedly hears a weird voice coming from his chamber. He looks like a butcher in the manner of Lazar. After he passes away there, Joey rushes downstairs to confront Frank for his falsehoods, but he threatens her with a gun and says Abigail is lying in order to turn them against one another. As a result, they choose to murder the girl, but Joey objects. Peter jumps at the chance to murder Abigail, and he heads straight for her chamber. Frank, Sammy, and Joey trail after him. When Peter refuses to listen to Abigail's demands to lay down his gun, Abigail takes off her handcuffs and free herself. Frank shoots her in the forehead before she can reveal her true identity as a vampire. But immediately she stands up, and everyone dashes outside to escape with their lives. They begin to plan their escape from the house. However, realizing that it's locked from the outside, they begin to consider how to get vampire Abigail out of there. They know from the movies that vampires are terrified of garlic, detest sunshine, and can only be slain by a sharp stick. For their own protection, each of them dashes to get these things. Frank disagrees with Joey's request that they exchange Abigail for their lives with Lazar. Holding the sharp sticks, they go into Abigail's empty room. They follow the sound when they hear the music suddenly. Despite Sammy holding garlic, Abigail dances and attacks with all her strength, throwing her. She severely hurts Peter by repeatedly piercing his chest with a sharp cross. Abigail turns to face Frank, grabs the sharp stick, and drives it into Frank's leg. She wants to let them go and not kill any of them just yet. They admit that none of the vampire killing strategies worked and join Joey as she sits in the corridor. However, Joey is positive that Abigail responded well to the calming injection. In order to find Abigail and bring her closer to Joey, where she will administer the sedative, they want to search the home. A bat hits Sammy as she searches for Abigail on the deserted side of the house. After falling behind in the pool, she shouts to find that there are several dead bodies in the water. Joey follows her after hearing her scream, and Abigail sees Peter and chases after him. Frank rushes Peter downstairs as Abigail follows him upstairs. When Frank carries her downstairs and Joey tries to put in Abigail, the needles stop working. She sedates Abigail and hardly notices it from behind the bars. Abigail bites Sammy's arm as she tries to save Frank. She's afraid that she will turn into a vampire at some point. Abigail was placed behind the iron cage. However, she teases Frank by admitting that he was her father's employee when she comes to. Releasing her true name, Sammy acknowledges that she pilfered money from the bank accounts of her affluent parents. Peter worked for little money and tricked the family. After growing dissatisfied with his job as a police officer, Frank, who is power-hungry, goes undercover to experience unrestricted privilege and power. He murdered Lazar's friends. After Joey cut the vein of Abigail's father's friend and left her son with his pitiful father, Joey developed a drug addiction. To gain her father's favor, Abigail brought them all here by trapping them. Abigail offers to tell them about the escape door to the first person to unlock her, teasing them with her words. When Peter tries to open it, Joey shoots him next to the stomach. She takes Peter to bandage the wound and instructs Frank to seek for Abigail. Abigail assaults Frank while breaking the lock. Her hand is chipped off by a shard of sunlight that strikes it at the same moment. They run to the library, leaving Abigail behind. Frank picks up the book Abigail taught him to use to unlock the secret door, but she makes him look foolish. Joey attempts to break through the wall in order to escape the house during the day, but his efforts are useless. She sits down with Sammy and tells him that, now that she is clean, she plans to reconcile with her kid and reset her life. Frank mocks her, but they intend to turn off the electricity. Frank goes with Joey, while Sammy goes with Peter. Sammy feels that Abigail's bite will eventually convert her into a vampire. Sammy is scared of light. In order to find the power source and to be with their loved one again, Sammy and Peter make a vow to save each other within the house as they arrive to a dark, dusty chamber. Abigail abruptly switches on the music, telling Sammy she is a slave by the song's tone. Sammy transforms into a vampire in a wonderful way. As a result, she strikes Peter and draws blood from his body as soon as he turns to look for Sammy. Yet Sammy dances along with Abigail, taking on the role of her slave. Nevertheless, the sun burns her flesh. Sitting next to Peter's corpse, she is acting strangely, which both Frank and Joey notice. While standing beneath the sun, Joey sprints to save her life. Using a metal tray, Joey tosses the strong sunlight at them before she can transform them into vampires, breaking Sammy into pieces. When Joey and Frank go looking for Abigail again, to their surprise, they find Lambert in a room with multiple screens watching them move throughout the home. Knowing that Joey supported Frank, her father's nemesis, he clutches Joey's neck and orders Abigail to transform him into a vampire. In exchange for Lambert's family's safety, she agreed to bring her father's enemies here. He now makes Frank an offer to assist him in killing Abigail in exchange for anything he wants from Frank. He takes Lambert's offer and refuses to assist in suffocating Joey. Joey falls in, struggling for air. Lambert bites Frank and drips his blood into his lips in the next moment, turning Frank into a vampire. After he throws up a lot of blood, Lambert begs Frank to make Joey the first victim to become a vampire. Frank pressed the sharp stick into Lambert's chest before he could say another word. When he passes away, a scared Joey grabs the stick to rescue herself. Abigail enters in the meantime, and Frank grabs her to drain her body of blood, causing her to pass out. Joey hits the button right away to open the doors and go out of the chamber. She snatched up the phone and told her son how much she loved her before running off. Frank throws her inside the library when he discovers her calling at the same moment. Taking use of his vampire strength, he launches Joey from the top level. Abigail suddenly reaches out and saves her life. In a whisper, she offers Joey her assistance in killing Frank in return for her freedom. Joey assists Frank as promised, but Frank pierces Joey's shoulder with the stick to force her into the chair. He then sucks blood from Abigail, while she lifts her index finger to remind Joey that she pledged to protect her. Frank violently extracts the rod from Joey's shoulder. He tastes the blood that is leaking from her shoulder. He now wants Abigail to be killed by Joey, who he has made his slave. She strikes Frank while showing respect. During the fight, Abigail knocks Frank to the ground and tries to cut his flesh with the sharp wooden stick. As Joey assists Abigail in killing him, he is about to toss her back. Frank's body is all over the place after they implant the stick. Joey is allowed to go after Abigail, thanks her for saving her life. Abigail stops Lazar from sucking her blood just as he is ready to do so, telling him to back off since she saved her while Lazar was not around. After leaving the house in the van, Joey leaves the property.